Okay, so hello everybody, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to this live stream. Still getting a bit of struggle to go live, but it's working out. I guess I have at least 30 seconds of delay, but we're gonna make this work, right? So how are you all doing today? Queenie is here. Good evening. Hello. Yeah, everything set up here. Yeah. Stream element is here. Good. So, I did share the link everywhere, right? In the right room. Public content, yes. Okay. And on Twitter, I think I did. So, so since last week, which was the 31, so we were, yeah, about here. Okay. So I guess that was already the same count that I shared, I think, last week. Unless I did that later on. No, that was last week. Look at this. Hasta la vista is here. Good to see you. So yeah, for now I'm staying with the same ID. You know, I'm looking for a retrace eventually. Overall market is, sorry, it's noisy. Markets remain very bullish, extremely bullish, to say the least. Item frame count here for me remain the same. I believe we are on our way to 50k and beyond. It's just that right now I'm not sure I don't think we are ready to break out 30k yet. Right? Can we continue to grind up a bit or have another leg up here before getting a rejection? Maybe. Still a possibility. Can we go on a breakout without any retrace? Everything's possible as well. You know, we have a count on the lower time frame suggesting that we already have a wave 2 in here. Very shallow, extremely shallow. I don't believe that is right. I think we are going to see a bit more of a retrace. That said, probable that the retrace is going to be quick, in my opinion. May have a few days before starting to rise again. If that happens, as I believe it will. But yeah, possible that it's gonna be quick. It's also possible we have a deeper retrace. These counts remain valid, right? Wave 1, 2 here, and the bigger 3, and wave 1, 2. So it remains valid as long as we don't reach the low of wave 2 here, right? Let's say I'm a bit in between here because it seems that there is more, as we go sideways, there is more and more people looking at the area here around 24-25k, just below our current range, right? I'm zooming. Should zoom in a bit more because I'm streaming with locality here. I think there's a lot of people looking for the sweep of that low. So, and looking at that area in particular. So I don't know for sure, but you know, I was looking at the grid and fear index chart here on from Glassnode. and from the green fear index everybody is looking at, alternative.me. And just comparing with where we are most likely at right now in the cycle. And we are at the consolidation before breaking a very important resistance, which is the 30k here, right? So basically when we were in a consolidation prior to the break of 6k here, or as we are entering as a third wave, we are about the consolidation here as well in terms of the time of the cycle. And well, usually we play a lot more with sentiment, right? And we did have a lot of sentiment play, if I can call it that way, recently with all the banking crisis, and especially related to the burning that crypto industry use and the buying and stuff, etc. So there is a lot of potential of FUD, of fearful news reaching up, but price doesn't seem to be able to move down much, which makes sentiment across the market overall remaining extremely bullish. We remain into greed here. We have been remaining into greed since the wave 2 here, right? So during all that period here, we've remained into greed. And so it makes sense to me still that we have good chances of having an aggressive dump at some point, which should last enough to be able to build on, to capitalize on that fear, incentivize people to sell, to be able to rise back, right? To trap seller. It's just how market works. It's a cycle, so can analyze it with a Elliott Wave cycle, for that matter, and I need to work on all time frames, right? So the same way, I mean, the same way we capitalized on fear during building a bottom, on extreme fear, during sell-off, etc. On the lower time frame, we also see the wave 2, I mean, right? On the lower time frame, we should see that as well. So that's why I don't really feel we have a good wave 2 here yet, because I didn't see enough fear, enough bear getting out, saying I told you so, thinking they were right. And I think the only way we can do that is just by breaking the floor and potentially breaking some kind of bullshit news, making people fearful enough to sell. Where will it be enough fear remains to be seen. At the same time, even if a lot of people are looking at that level around 24, 25k, often, very often, a lot of people will be predicting the right way, and when the event happens, they don't act because there is so much uncertainty or so much emotional event happening that they don't trigger, they don't pull the trigger. So if the low term frame market price action is looking dumpy enough, and whatever news is hyping at that moment is fearful enough, well, I guess this level will remain sensible and can place support. Other possibility is to dip a lot lower, so we have golden bucket, or even come to challenge naked BOC here, the very low. You know, that count as a 1 and a 2 will remain until we break that low. So we can come very close to the low and still be a valid 1, valid 2. A problem that I have with that idea that we dip so much, it's not really the right structure that we have for that right now. I mean, you know, we already claim that resistance, so dipping a bit below it's kind of fine, but it's, yeah, even looking at the weekly chart, for example, you know, can we expect a full bearish candle here that will engulf the previous one, close below, and remain bullish overall? And maybe that's what will be needed, but it's not very usual to have a full bearish weekly candle into a bull trend. So either it got really quick, a very big liquidity, and where, you know, with derivative and liquidation, it will price very quickly down and bounce back extremely as quick. Or just we retest the simple previous resistance, I suppose. I don't know. Or maybe we don't necessarily have a crystal ball. But sometimes I like to think I have one, because I made some nice prediction in the past. So I'm staying decently confident that we'll have a retrace. All of that to say this. Now, I cannot assure that we don't go higher here. I'm starting to struggle to complete any kind of impulse from that low that would continue higher from here. You know, I suppose we could still, yeah, let me clone that to a new folder. I suppose we can do something like this, maybe, still. But another kind of leading diagonal. As you see, usually when we look for leading diagonal, we look for contracting price action, and here it's almost more channeling than really forming some kind of triangle, right? But I guess it's valid 1. There is maybe others. Well, I suppose the other one is just to get this as a 1, 2, 3, all of this consolidation as a wave 4, and in some manner, can we do, yeah, I guess we can make a wave 4 here, or maybe even use something lower and print a 5th like this. No, the main invalidation for diagonal is, or validation, is that if it's contracting, waves, the third wave needs to be smaller than the 1, and the 5th needs to be smaller than the 3rd. And 4 should overlap wave 1, which it kind of does here. And could do if we do, I don't know, maybe we sweep the low again here and do something like this. And finish the 5th still, and still come back later. I can know for sure. I cannot know for sure. Let's say I'm feeling confident enough to be short here. I'd say that it's a real time. As my higher time frame bias remain extremely bullish, I remain as much as possible exposed to the long side as well, because I believe that when we're gonna break 30k, it's gonna be stiff and strong and quick. When we enter that third wave of the third wave, so I rather remain positioning long as much as possible when sensible, of course, not just blindly. And the short that I'm been taking from the high the past few weeks. Well, edge for me, basically mostly spot edge at least, or when I can get tighter entry. The goal is for me to be able to remain relatively aggressive on the long side as we go down potentially, and be protected in some way. So if we have the correct count here, started with a 1-2-1-2 here. That kind of, yeah, that will send us pretty low. I didn't really project it, the count yet. I'm not necessarily projecting it either, because what I think will happen here at some point, we'll have a third wave that's gonna see acceleration, and then it can just tighten and finish the extension really tightly. In theory, we could see this third wave coming down here. Yeah, that's gonna be tight here. I guess that can finish here, because we would need if we do finish 5 waves like this, we would need still another leg down, because that would just be wave A, unless the count was indeed finished here. You know, I have an alternative count than the leading diagonal here, right? With a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 5. And so we can be in an ABCA, or rather AB, and could be in a C, so we can finish in 5 waves. And for me, that doesn't really matter yet how it's gonna unfold, because well, it's not that it doesn't matter, but I rather wait for a bit more confirmation to work on the potential bottoms, and you know, when we see a break of that level and we start trading below it, then I can come back on that moment and see the 2 or 3 potential scenario to have 2 or 3 potential bottom play to look for. And for now, I've been kind of focusing on this being a nice UTAD potential final move. I have an impulse here, I have another impulse down there. And as long as this high doesn't break, yeah, we have the potential for extension 1212. I have a sub count here. Yeah, that was the alternative, an alternative for the flat here that I have, but I'm so getting doubtful about it. I guess it could be a WXY. Okay. That was the alternative to look for the high to get taken again here. Because if we go to 29,500 from here, I would most likely be looking for a short again. If we do go there before going down, obviously. And that could have been the flat here that way, yeah. Which is still valid. The problem here is on the wave C in yellow. So the C wave of the B wave, right? Because we have A, B here with A, B, C, essentially. Problem I have with that right now is how do we make 5 waves starting from that low and finishing to the target at 29,500. And with the first leg we have here, it doesn't look like much possible. I suppose that means we could extend that range a bit more by A, B, C, B. Am I just doing an A, B that come back lower here? And have a much more complex wave B that for now is here. But yeah. Maybe, yeah, come below, mount low. Do that. Yeah, that range is really getting complicated. Count, that's the problem when we're going sideways so much. You end up with hundreds of possibilities. That's also why I'm kind of focusing on mixing the two things here, or several things, is trading the range basically, so shorting the top, longing the bottom, and focusing on a lower time frame counts to trigger some trades, internal trade in F1. And let's some go if you want to. And yeah, for example, a 1-2 here and a sub 1-2 here. So I took shorts, especially here. I have a good one that I have already taken take profit twice. But I'm ready to let run down as much as possible. I'll probably have a third take profit here. I will just, close half of the remaining to keep some running. And the same way, locally, I have a shorter term count here. And I've been looking for longs for the past day. Well, since yesterday, we did long this during the live stream for the crew. I just had a simple completed 5 waves done, so that's what I mean. I can count a 15-minute finish here. I know I have liquidity that have been taken. Not here, but below that low and below here. I have decently important high time frame level. We were at value area low of the range. So, you know, looking either at the low of the range or value area low of the range. Which is below here still. And looking for a bounce here simply. But I'm not sure this is gonna fulfill. I have been edging short here as well, on that long particularly. So that means that show that I've been taking profit on the way down here. Or I can reopen position here more tightly. To edge long that is targeting just the golden pocket and liquidity above that high. Simple as that. But I have a short here, just sacrificing a few percent in case I get stopped out, because I think it could accelerate or at least take non-day low here. So I will pay for my stop. And if it tries, I think we have good chances of taking the high here. Also, you know, still just looking, as always, the order flow. We're really starting to see aggressive short here on the last wave, on the fifth wave. Characteristic of a fifth wave, you got bottom shorter, negative funding in this area as well. So suggesting potential for a short squeeze. Indeed enough. I mean, the initial long here, I've been able to take profit. And this is a compound for me. Because I kind of feel that we're still oversold, and that is a bit too small for too quick for a finish of a wave 2 like this. But it's not impossible. So mixing all of that here, trying to stay with the flow. But yeah, I've been trading quite tightly today, all day long. So in theory, if I'm just basing on session play, we can say that we should fake out one side of this range, which will likely stop me out of a long and a short. I have just a gut feeling that if the next side of this dark small candle are gonna have continuation. Can I look at Ethereum? Yeah, can do that. Just quickly checking volume here, and yeah, for now we also have support on the trend line still. Volume have been dying off prior to the weekend. Really low liquidity here. Yeah, I think we're gonna get extension. It will make sense to have nice sweep here and continuation, and maybe but there's surely real selling interest we saw during this selling support during this event as well. Well, now it's diminishing clearly. Market remain aggressive. So Ethereum. Magic spread does nothing. A bit of selling. There's weird movement on Bitfinex as well. You can see there's weird sales happening here. Spike of volume doesn't inspire me confidence for bulls here. Ethereum. Well, before Ethereum, I was just we were talking about some stuff in the Discord, and yeah, I was mentioning uranium as a very nice play here. You know, in all that madness, certainty, where to diversify potentially. And of course, a lot of people are looking at gold, and gold have already risen quite significantly from its low. Uranium is getting out of a very long retracement. I mean, I've been going down for about 10 years. Very nice accumulation, and very nice impulsive move with interest here in volume. Okay, showing in volume and retracement on diminishing volume. So extremely bullish looking chart, and the potential is pretty great on that, because we are talking about a 10x, correct? So it's kind of similar to Bitcoin, probably a lot less quick, but who knows? So yeah, I'm bullish on uranium, and go just to check here. I didn't check today. Okay, and I'm looking for a retrace for gold. I think we finished or about to finish. I think there's good potential. We finished already. 5 waves impulse out of September low. And so I think we will get a nice retrace here where I will be willing to be a buyer at that point. I don't know if we can break that low. It's possible if, yeah, it's possible that we retrace the golden pocket 17 or just put the higher low around 19. We'll keep an eye on that. So an interest for diversification. And Ethereum, I don't know what Ethereum I've been doing here. Yeah, kind of well, kind of the same. Bitcoin on the wider picture here. It did made a higher high quite significantly here. And so the count that that is on the chart here with wave 2 here was just an alternative. I don't keep everything on for that. Well, I think it's possible that we are in expanded flat, in fact, here. Yeah, and we'll have a wave 2 down there. Let me see the retrace we have. Yeah, decently strong. 1, 2, or I guess we can do something along this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. The question you may ask is, well, isn't Ethereum leading and showing the way for Bitcoin? Because that's often a question. That is when they have kind of a similar price action and one go for a breakout, not the other. Because basically that's a 29k level on Bitcoin that have been claimed this week earlier. And I will say, well, maybe, of course it's possible, but at the same time, it's a recurring event to see a breakout on an asset like this, especially on Ethereum, while Bitcoin doesn't, which incentivize people to be bullish on Bitcoin and buy up resistance or buy up at all, right? And both of them end up to retrace back. So I would not necessarily play this correlation. It's like a 50% chance that it is leading, or just a trap to incentivize supply liquidity. I mean, the volume is dying as well here. We have bearish divergence, topping out RSI. Kind of willing to say that we will have a retrace as well. And if we don't have a retrace, well, come back to the earlier count. And yeah, maybe we have a 1-2 here, and here we have a sub 1-2 here, and a sub 1-2 here. When will you get any kind of confirmation here? Well, if you change market structure. Because if you start to go below this, well, you break your potential for this to be a 1-2, 1-2. And you kind of increase, well, probability this is an ABC up. An A, B, C. On the lower time frame, it seems more impulsive than anything else here. And potential for a retrace up, just like Bitcoin. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC. 1, 2, 3. I suppose we can take the low once more, yeah. And have after a retrace toward golden pocket, or at least highs here. Retest of broken spot. We have this zone here. And so if that play out as is, well, you look to see if you have kind of a reaction, a good reaction here on a 1-1 extension, for example. You can be a buyer at that point. When you have your when you finish your corrective move, so you know, because you have been a longer correction and you have a bigger impulse down that break that previous low. Well, I would look to finish my 5s here and look for, you know, a fib confluence depending where is the high, etc. And see if it is an ABC or if it is a sell that's gonna go down more. At that point you can have confluence as well. What I mean is you can have 5 ways that finish to the 1-1 as confluence for a bounce. At that point you're not sure if you are in a A, B, C finished, or if you are in a 1-2 and a sub 1 and a sub 2, but you can still have a nice bounce, take profit, and see if you're going into the third of the third, or if you did indeed bottom and going for new highs. So that allows to get along, get a profit, in case it turned back on. That's what I would do. Not a lot of people live today. There is more likes than lives, so maybe it's just YouTube. Or maybe because the time is a bit late for the new schedule. Yeah. Don't think I have much to say yet on altcoins. You know, I'm not a big altcoin trader. But there's potential for... There's really good potential in altcoins when we are going so much sideways in bullish environment. It's just that if we have a flush on Bitcoin, things can turn back down pretty quickly as well. Let me see here. Yeah, I guess. Not gonna be short. Trying to think what could come here, because I realized that my 1212 count's gonna send us pretty, could send us pretty low. But for now, I'm gonna keep it as it is. But yeah, ABC, yeah, I suppose we can keep our finish here. So yeah, that makes sense. We can keep our leading diagonal finish. And here we go. During the live, things get clearer again. And have this as a first move down, ABC, and potentially this as an A, B, C, B, and then come back to finish the expanded flat down there. That could make sense. So that's how we could take the high again. Knowing that it can just, you know, as long as we are in a range, we can keep ranging. If we have if I see a reaction and I take on a significant here, a significant low or significant high, I will keep playing the same, just as it happens. If it gets a reaction, then I come back and try to see what count match it. But that, yeah, ideally I plan the count prior the event happens, so I'm kind of ready. But at the same time, if this kind of setup presents itself and I don't necessarily have the count, that doesn't mean I'm not going to trigger it. Just like I think it was here, trigger the last nice position that I trigger without having a very nice finish on my count, then I end up finding one, and so I still went for the long here. I would still get a long if we get a sweep here. And if I'm uncertain and if I'm looking at the order flow and saying it wasn't working well, you know, I'm take profit quickly in case that just fake bounce, that cat bounce. And if it come back here, well, I reassess at that point, right? What do you think about from a Wyckoff perspective on Bitcoin in that range, accumulation or distribution? Doesn't really look like strong distribution. So, you know, I have kind of a distributive idea here still that I remain, but it's kind of rather neutral. And you know, distribution or reaccumulation can very often look alike, and what make it distribution or accumulation is on the break, right? So if you get at some point an increase in speed with an increase in volume, then here you have your show of weakness, and you can say it's distribution. But right now it's in between, because you rather even more bullish still. You have your spike at the low, you still have interest in buying here with nice increasing volume, but you have also your spike at the very high. Here you have your force selling during that event, sustained selling at decently high volume above average here, pushing into liquidity, but then you have nothing more. So you have a bit of distribution. So you have distribution, and you have distribution at the high and accumulation at the low, especially in a 10% range in a high leverage market. And you can see it on the coin-analyze open interest chart that you have big wild swing. So, you know, the position that have been kind of accumulated here and bought up because market have been very aggressive. Position have also been market bought to force just the short squeeze. And so what have been bought here have been sold during the move up, during the short squeeze and at the top. So you have accumulation and distribution all the time in that range, right? What we try to see is which side seems to be the strongest, and for now we just have contraction in volume overall, and so we need to see where we're gonna see expansion, and if the expansion remain, if it's really very serious, or is it just a spike at the low? Is it just looking to liquidate position and got the reaction? In that case, it remain accumulative. If it is sustained selling and let the reaction, but keep pushing down, you'll see increasing volume, and now you know that you have your distribution. You can still have a retrace, but hope this is kind of clear enough. But I would say I'm seeing I'm feeling a bit more distributional here. You know, you can see this increase in volume on the way down, and this kind of two event here that remind me the selling into support here. It's kind of what I felt, but you know, sometimes you have this for selling and then accumulation, which is happening here. We are seeing accumulation again here. At the same time, if it breaks down, well, the accumulation fail, and then you have distribution into support. That's also a bit difficulty on Bitcoin, looking at it on the with a Wyckoff highs on the low time frame, because market is such aggressive. It's not only retail that get trapped at the low or at the high and are doing market orders. It's also the market makers and the big players that are pushing the other side. We really have big bulls and big bears that are fighting and pushing into the liquidation of the other one, you know. Like when you get hundreds of millions of dollars of liquidation, it's not just retailers. So yeah, I need to see where is the next expansion, and does the volume come during the move and increase during the move, or is it just quick quick move in one direction and volume coming at mostly at the high or mostly at the low. Mostly at the low if it does a move down, or mostly at the high if it's a move. Right. Or if you have a little volume but just big spikes that force the move up, and then you have a lot of volume coming at the end of the move, and you have your increase in open interest, and this open interest get trapped, and you have your distribution. A bit like I often show, I think, where's the last obvious 7. Okay, it's broken again. A good example of that should be that was so quick. But you can see it here. They're getting trapped here. Getting squeezed, and then you have your increase in open interest in here. Then you finish the squeeze here, both sides, and you move back down. Is there any clear indication to make the difference between reaccumulation and distribution? Sometimes there is, but for now there isn't, because as I said, because volume is mostly tightening here. So the market is undecided. For now it's stabilizing. But like I say, it look a bit, overall it look a bit more like accumulation. It's just that last part that look more like aggressive selling, not necessarily distribution. I think that's where we start to see spot CVD going down a bit more now. Well, not so much. So you can see how POC is moving to the mid-range, so it's kind of equilibrated. We can see distribution with volume profile here, because you don't have much volume at the low, because you don't spend much time at the low. It's not like a textbook distribution. It's more like stop long, rise back up quickly to produce liquidity, because the guy that got stop buy back at the highs, and you stop it again and they buy back at the high again. But the volume happen mostly in the upper range, so it is looking a bit more like distribution, I would say, in that matter. Yeah, it's not extremely obvious, so I know during reaccumulation you have buys at the high, you have buy at resistance. That's how the price move up. So distribution is selling at the high, but till break you don't know, because the bull market is also people buying at the high and going away with it. But yeah, no, as I said, the the difference made up when we start to leave the range. And again, I'm gonna repeat it, but we have to look at the way volume is behaving. You want to see this sustain and increase volume on the way the price go to suggest it is a real break. Quite often you get spike that just big buys that go for the squeeze. Anyway, I think that's all I can say here. I don't have much more to say. A quick look at the heat map if that's your interest. Yeah, there's still bits on Binance, of course. There's liquidity both sides here. The rest is kind of neutral. There was a lot of bids on several spot exchange, rather at the 20, the high 24, low 25. It's gone here, but it's just API that gone, not necessarily the bids. We can see some on spot as well. A bit lower here. More at 22. Binance. And BUSD. If there is any left. No. TUSD maybe. If there is such a ticker here. No. No. Actually, on Coinbase there is bits as well here, ready to bought up any dips, and there a bit as well on Kraken. So on significant spots. Yeah, there a bit as well. Oh, there is kind of a big floor here. The derivative one, 3 million. So like 30k first, yeah, possible indeed. Ideally, yeah, what I would look for is 123 extension, retracement, but I would not be sure which one to take. It will depend on what kind of move we get first. As I'm reading a nice 5 here, I would be more willing to see something like this maybe. I think yeah, we can stay range bound here between value still. 5 or 2 cents in your the rest, yeah. Still like to see 28.5 up to 28.6 at least, and I think I'm gonna be looking for short here and see if there is a reaction on the 1-1 extension that will be made, value are low or below the 27,200 low here. Right, either here, either here. If we can have this move first. And obviously if we take the low at 26,500, but at that point I I'm gonna start to get a lot more cautious to buy a sweep of the very low. This in between would be interesting, I believe. Potentially, I'm not saying it's gonna succeed, but yeah, it could be. Especially if we get the move first. Move up first. Okay, anyway, thanks for watching everybody. I hope that was interesting. I will see you all soon, I guess. Yeah, I don't have much more to say. Don't forget to take a break as well. Market if you don't. It's spring, right? That's good time to go outside. Take care everybody, and see you all soon. Thanks again. Bye.